Good evening. And to the fellows, congratulations. It's been said already tonight, but you were such an impressive group. And as I was going through your bios as I prepared for tonight, as someone at our table said, I just wondered what I'd done with my life when I'd looked at what you have been able to accomplish in the few years that you've been on this planet. It's truly a pleasure for me to be here with you tonight, and it's especially exciting that you're here in person the first time since the pandemic. I've been fortunate, as Karen mentioned, to have had assignments in Nigeria, Benin, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And so it's especially wonderful to be here celebrating with you, your young African fellows. Thank you to the Presidential Precinct for inviting me to be part of your journey. So why does the Department of State fund this program? As Secretary Blinken said in his welcome remarks at the 2022 Fellowship Summit, we support this program to develop the skills of the next generation of leaders in civil society, in business, and in government. What was true last year is still true today. We believe in the importance of good leadership. We believe that you have the drive, knowledge, persistence, and talent to improve the issues that you're working on. And we believe that these exchanges can strengthen the relationships between our two countries. So as this is a leadership program, and I am one of the associate deans at the Leadership and Management School, it seems fitting to focus on leadership. Our school is dedicated to career-spanning leadership development for department employees from the early entry level through ambassadors, whether working in the US or abroad. Our vision is to spark and nurture a culture of leadership and crisis preparedness throughout the foreign affairs community. We deliver courses from entry level to ambassador, and we accompany participants as they deepen self-awareness, discover their strengths, identify areas they would like to develop, and prepare to take on increasing responsibilities for increasingly complex organizations, from small teams to whole embassies. One fun part of my job is that I get to spend time with learners who are on that journey of identifying and refining their leadership style. When I speak with them about leadership, I note that it starts with the self. Self-knowledge is a superpower. We ask ourselves, what are our strengths? What are our weaknesses and our biases? And how do they help or hinder us? So I have 3 questions that ground me in my motivations. The answers evolve as I grow and experience, but the questions are my guide stones. First, who am I called to be? Second, who do we choose to be? And third, how do we lead at a time such as this? The importance of self-knowledge is the reason for the first question. Who am I called to be? Theologian and author Frederick Buechner says our vocations are the place where our deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. Whatever called you to your work, you have discovered your vocations. Those places where your talent, vision, drive, and fulfillment intersect with our world's greatest needs. While here in Charlottesville, perhaps you have been exploring what your personal approach to leadership is and how your approach links to your core values and your calling. That search is about exploring your calling and deciding what comes next. It's about agency and deciding what you will do. And this leads us to the second question, which is, who do we choose to be? At this stage, we recognize our calling, and yet there is still a choice to be made. what will we do? Leadership happens at many levels in our communities, in work teams, in our neighborhoods, cities, countries, and internationally. And as you know, there are no leaders without followers. So part of our work of leadership involves enlisting others to embrace your vision and to partner with you as you transform that spark of an idea into a project, and that project into a movement. This is the work we must do together. Who do we choose to be? What I like about this question is that it infers that we are working together. It's not phrased, who do I choose to be, because that is important, but who do we choose to be? And that got me thinking about inclusion. Who's part of the group that we define as us? Who is at the table? Whose voices are heard? In all of our leadership courses at the Foreign Service Institute, we engage learners in an exploration of inclusion, along with diversity, equity, and accessibility. The fact of difference has always been present. Valuing diversity is a more recent development, at least here in the United States. We in the department understand that valuing diversity is not only the right thing to do, it is also necessary. Secretary Blinken has dedicated himself to ensuring we have a foreign policy workforce that looks like the country it represents. And as he said in his April 2021 remarks when he announced the appointment of the department's first ever Chief Diversity Officer, we can't build lasting diversity without first building an environment where all people are valued, because each of us has something to contribute. I was chatting with a friend about what I would say to you tonight about unity, Ubuntu, and inclusion, and she shared a Yoruba saying that roughly translates to, "The 5 fingers of the hand are not the same." She explained that this is about appreciating the beauty and the value of difference. The fingers are not the same, and all are necessary. All must work together collaboratively, just as we must work together in service to the greater whole. Years ago, I was a rower on a crew team, usually in boats of 4 to 8. So one day I was at a race, and I and my teammates were walking around, and we saw another team walking in our direction. They were wearing shirts that said on the front, "Some of us are better than others of us." Even if you are very good at what you do, it's impolite at best to announce your superiority on the front of a shirt. So as you can imagine, we were watching them as they walked by. And we saw the back of their shirts. And the shirt said, "But none of us is as good as all of us." The 5 fingers of the hand are not the same. No one person can row an 8-person boat by themselves. Everyone has a role, everyone is necessary, and only by working together can we win races. So we may not be rowers, but the same is true for us. Each of us is an integral part of a larger group, and collaboration is the only way we will achieve our goals. The third question I'd like you to consider is, how do we lead at a time such as this? A time when we face shared perils of climate change, global health challenges, and other threats to human well-being. How do we build community in such fractious times when social media posts and clickbait articles are designed to induce rage? How do we engage fear of the other, of circumstances beyond our control, of resource competition, in a way that lets us move forward together to jointly construct solutions. I believe that the way forward is through persuasion. The way forward is through engagement with those who share our concerns, though their approaches to solving them might differ from ours. Still, we can and must partner with them to develop sustainable and enduring solutions. It will require deep listening to hear and understand each other. It will require community building that enables civic engagement. The friend who shared the Yoruba saying reminded me of Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's 2009 talk, The Danger of a Single Story. And maybe some of you, I see some heads nodding, so I think some people are familiar with it. So if you haven't heard the talk, Adichie reflects on the stories that she had read and the stories that she had been told, the narratives other people construct about our lives and our experience, narratives that are often trapped in stereotypes or myth. She laments the way that one story, however true it might be, can become the only story. And toward the end of her talk, she says, stories matter. Many stories matter. Stories have been used to dispossess and malign, but stories can also be used to empower and to humanize. Stories can break the dignity of a people, but stories can also repair that broken dignity. So as I thought about the danger of a single story, I began to wonder about the power of shared stories. When I think about what you've experienced these 6 weeks, the people you've met, the stories you've shared with strangers, the stories you've shared among yourselves, as you've navigated this experience together, I realized you have been creating shared stories. These stories are a vital part of the fellowship. Through your interactions, you are disrupting a tendency toward a single story. This disruption is important because you are working on issues that transcend national boundaries. You are working to end violence against women, defend human rights, protect the environment, strengthen democracy, engage youth to develop the next generation of leaders, strengthen interethnic tensions, and build peace. These are pressing issues for us all in our connected world, and we must work together to construct a positive and healthy future for ourselves and for those who follow. As you strive to make real and sustained changes in people's lives by improving their living conditions, increasing access to justice, or providing safety from violence, and as you draw the circle wider to include those who've been marginalized, know that there will be doubters. There will be people who say it can't be done, that it's too hard, that it's not worth the effort, that there are more important tasks. There will be people who devote time and energy to admiring the problem. I say don't let them slow you down. You are here because you've moved beyond that. You have imagined what can be, and embracing your visions, you've chosen to start designing and implementing solutions. Through your 6 weeks here, you've deepened your self-knowledge, a foundational aspect of effective leadership. You've learned about civic engagement, you've made friends, and now you head to Washington to join hundreds of other fellows in what promises to be a great summit. As you depart Charlottesville, this place where you've learned and laughed and grown and stretched, I share this question from American poet Mary Oliver, who writes in her work, A Summer's Day, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with this one wild, precious life?" You've shown us already what your plans are, and we look forward to seeing them come to fruition. Congratulations again. I wish you courage, strength, community, and joy as you continue your life's work and realize your visions. Thank you.